Oshae, great to have you on. Thanks so much for finding a few minutes for us here in Syracuse. Congratulations on a great run to this point. How are things today? How's practice going as you get ready for this big series?
Practice has been great, the past couple of days. Again, after it, just trying to refocus out. It's been a while since we had our last game. But it's been great. I feel like everyone's on the same page, especially right now. We know what's at stake here. So we're all super focused, ready, and, ultimately, really excited.
I know you're in the thick of it, but do you allow yourself at all to kind of pinch yourself about how far you've come from, the time you leave Syracuse? Paulie brings up, you go to the G League, you work really hard, you put yourself in a position to take advantage of the opportunity when you get it. And obviously you had 3 great years with the Pacers, and now you find yourself with the Boston Celtics, and you're in the NBA Finals. I mean, can you speak to your journey from when you left Syracuse to how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, I feel like you kind of just ran down through it, but talking about how I actually felt, it's obviously a blessing being in the NBA, being a part of the NBA G League or up in the NBA. To be able to play there amongst the best players in the world is something that I feel like everyone that's in it is really happy about and really proud of themselves about. But for me, like you said, it was real up and down. A couple years of being in the G with a 2-way, and then I was getting cut by the Raptors and having to find my way back in the NBA. Work real hard to carve out a career myself with the Pacers. And that was fun. I always say that I have a mad love for the Pacers people, the front office, the players that I played with, and the fan base. Because being there was really what helped me get back into the NBA, and have a chance in free agency to get some interest from some teams. But as soon as Boston called, I knew this is where I wanted to be, and yeah, now being in the finals is crazy. It's hard to pinch myself because, like you said, I didn't think of it, and we're here. I gotta just be in the moment. But it definitely, when I think about it and look back, how far I came from leaving Syracuse, it is wild. It is crazy.
We kind of saw it this year with Judah Mintz. He's taking off, leaving Syracuse, going to the G League. We saw Cole Swider go to the G League. Make a roster. Buddy Boeheim do it. What is it like playing in the G League for the fans in Syracuse? Because the average fan kind of looks at it like, well, that's the G League. Why is he leaving? What is it like in that league?
It's an opportunity. I think that's the best way to look at it. People see the G League and think down of it, but there are a lot of great players that came out of the G League that are still in the G League, trying to find their way to the NBA. Me, I was fortunate enough and to be in the position to be on a team where, my skills were highlighted. But, the G it's tough, man. There's a lot of guys down there that play the right way because they want to be up here. Basketball is something that they love to do. So they're down there, you're working their butts off every single day. So I feel like all those guys leaving that have been in that position are really just, betting on themselves, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. I watched a couple of games with Judah. I think he's going to be perfectly fine this year, whether it's in the G, whether he has a chance to play in the NBA. He's going to be perfectly fine. I feel like he has that mindset where he wants better for himself, and he knows he could be a guard in the league, and I feel like he's going to be able to do that. Buddy is a perfect depiction of that. He's still in the G League, but every time I see highlights of him, it's 40 points here, 35 points there, and he's able to play really well. And you just got to keep working, keep his head down, and he'll be in the NBA for sure. So anyone that looks down on it, I don't think. I just feel like they don't really watch, honestly.
You were saying there's a lot of talent there, and there's got to be a difference between getting an opportunity with an NBA team and then taking advantage of the opportunity. And so you got the opportunity, and then you took advantage of it. And what did you learn about yourself from a mental toughness perspective, I guess? Because you knew you were good enough physically, and there are so many guys in the G League, I'm sure, that can play physically in the NBA, but there is a mental toughness that you need as well to keep yourself ready, to be, ready at a moment's notice to take advantage of that opportunity. What did you learn about yourself during this process?
Man, I feel like just staying humble with it all, having the opportunity to start my first couple games with the Pacers back when I signed my contract with them. I never let that get to my head. I knew this is where I wanted to be in the NBA, so I worked every single day, whether I had a good game, a bad game. I was always in the gym next day. before practice, after practice. And for me, it really taught me hard work, and I learned that I have that in me. It's not something that anyone has to push or get out of me. Anytime I step on the floor, I want to compete at the highest level. And I feel like, my first couple years in Indiana definitely showed that.
All right, let's talk about present day, this Celtic squad that you are on. Obviously, you've got a ton of talent. You've been the heavy favorites in the East, really, every step of the way. And sure enough, here you are in the NBA Finals. What makes this particular group, Oshae, so special?
I think it starts from training camp. I think the fact that everyone was there from the first day, even before, weeks before, building a relationship and knowing that this is where we want to be. We talked about it. It's been taught and learned from the start of the season. Being in the NBA Finals, we wouldn't be happy with anything else. Not to say anything would be a failure, but just knowing that this is what we wanted to play for. So we took every single game serious. We wanted every single matchup to feel like a playoff game. And I feel like that's what we've been doing, from the first game of the season up until now. I feel like everyone from the starters to the guys on the bench have been super locked in with everything that we had going on.
Everybody expected the Celtics to make it out of the East. The West seemed like it was wide open. And, the Dallas Mavericks are the team that survived. You could have had so many different options come out of the West, but it is Dallas. How do you feel as though you guys match up with them? What are you expecting out of this series from the Mavs?
I feel like they definitely turned it up in the playoffs. They, like you said, in the West, it was real close. It was hard to know who would have came out. So I feel like there was a lot of talk throughout the season of who was going to make it, who's ready. But I feel like they did what they had to do to get to this point, obviously. But they're a completely different team from the last time we played them, and we know it's going to be some really good games. Obviously, two-headed snake that they got, Kyrie and Luka. So those are the guys that we're focused on. But everyone else plays a big role on their team, and that's what really makes them special. I feel like that's why they got here. They rely on the other guys so well. That's kind of the same thing we do. Everyone on the team has to be ready at any given moment. So I think we're going to match up really well with them. We know they're going to be hard-fought games, but I feel like we're ready.
You touched on a little bit earlier that you saw a few games this year, and you mentioned that you've seen Judah Mintz play. How much do you kind of keep yourself abreast of what's going on with Syracuse basketball or Syracuse University in general? Do you still have any sort of contact with the coaches or with the university at all?
Yeah, I still follow all the accounts. I still pay attention to who we got coming in. Now I gotta talk my trash because JT and Emil are here. So anytime, we have a recruit or something, I gotta let them know, Syracuse's gonna be good this year, or even during the year when we were playing them. I know it was a tough game, but I had to talk some trash here and there. But yeah, I still talk to Coach Red a lot. He called me before the playoffs. He called me during the playoffs. I called him a couple of times during the season. We talked about going to get some food out here when they played BC, but we had a game the same night that they played, so it was tough. But I still keep in contact with all those guys for sure. Guys that I was there with, Tyus, Elijah, Braden, Kai. We talk all the time. We're still friends.
Nice. So. And I'm sure that, you're very familiar with what's going on with college athletics these days with NIL and transfer portal and all that. Do you wish the NIL was around, when you were playing? I mean, what are your thoughts of the way college athletics are these days?
I think it's honestly crazy. I don't know all the intricate details of what or who could get what and all that stuff, but seeing some of the numbers that's being thrown out there to the athletes, I think it is wild, and I'm happy that it's happening. I feel like they work hard and their name, they're holding up the college name or the university name in the right way. So I feel like they should definitely be rewarded for that. But do I wish that was around when I was there? Of course.
Oshae, how did you end up at Syracuse? I like to find out the recruiting story. How did you end up at Syracuse?
So, honestly, they were a school I really wanted an offer from. My senior year, I didn't get the offer then, so I did a post-grad year just because I was still waiting to see what kind of schools would offer me. And Tyler Ennis is a real close family friend of mine. I played for his dad back when I was younger. And he was like the basketball ops person at the school that I did a post-grad year with. So we talked a lot about schools and where I wanted to go. And I mentioned Syracuse, and as soon as that happened, he made a call. I think our next game, Boeheim and Coach Ray came down to watch, and got the offer from there. And as soon as I got the offer, as soon as they came down a couple more times. Met my mom and my dad, watched a lot of games, just talked here and there. I knew that's where I wanted to go. So it really came from Tony McIntyre, who is Tyler Anderson's dad.
Well, it's been 40 some odd years since a Syracuse basketball player has won an NBA championship. So good luck, and hopefully you can go get one.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're ready. It'll be some good games, but we're ready.
All right, Oshae, thanks so much for coming on. You've always been a class act. Continued success to you, and certainly good luck throughout this series.
For sure. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
All right. Oshae Brissett joining us here on the show. We'll hit a timeout. When we return, we'll bring on Anthony DeComo. We'll talk Mets baseball with him. We will circle back to Drew Carter later on in hour number 2. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.